A drone exploded into a shower of sparks, its plastic guts scattering across my zucchini patch. My eagle, Storm, let out a triumphant cry, circling above like a king claiming his sky. Down the block, Linda Hayes, our HOA dictator and self-proclaimed neighborhood watchdog, was yelling about airspace violations and federal conspiracies. I leaned against my porch railing, coffee steaming in my hand, watching the smoke curl into the dawn. "That's number 4 this week," I muttered, half smirking. You're probably wondering how I ended up in a backyard war with a nosy HOA and a flock of eagles. Buckle up, it's a wild ride. It all started with a neon green notice slapped on my gate like a cheap EVY tie-in threat. Unauthorized structure in rear yard. Detrimental to community aesthetics, it declared, with a grainy photo of what they called a structure. It was just a sturdy perch I'd built years ago for Storm, my oldest eagle, in VY sible from the street, unless you were snooping with binoculars or a drone. Turns out, Linda, our new HOA president, was doing exactly that. I live on a 2-acre plot at the edge of Willow Creek, backing onto federal land. I'd bought this place long before the HOA's tentacles reached my corner, and I'd been left alone for 12 years. But Linda? She was a storm of her own, a retired ad exec with a yappy dog named Biscuit and an unhealthy obsession with neighborhood standards. At first, I thought it was a prank. A bird perch? On my land, which wasn't even under HOA rules when I moved in. But 3 days later, another notice arrived, wildlife attract an active VY tie. No explanation. Then another, unsanctioned VY and installations. I laughed so hard I nearly spilled my coffee. I pictured Linda, clipboard in hand, Googling how to outlaw an eagle. Within 2 weeks, 5 citations piled up, each more absurd than the last. One accused me of promoting dangerous wildlife because my eagle, Dawn, laid eggs in a cedar platform I'd built. This wasn't just petty, it was personal. I'm not your typical suburbanite. I don't do Christmas lights or block parties. I rehabilitate raptors, eagles, hawks, owls most injured by power lines or traps. I've got a license from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service VYC, and my land's a conservation easement, which trumps local rules. Linda either didn't know or didn't care. I caught her drone buzzing over my paddock one morning while I fed my blind eagle, Shadow. Its red lens blinked like a creepy insect, zooming in on Dawn's nest. I chucked a pine cone at it, and it zipped back to Linda's house. 10 minutes later, an email pinged. A screenshot of me mid-throw, labeled hostility toward HOA monitoring. I fired back, citing the 1974 Wildlife Rehabilitation Act and my easement. Linda's response? Another drone, this time with infrared. That's when Storm got involved. He was perched on my shed, eyes locked on the buzzing intruder. The drone swooped low, likely eyeing Dawn's eggs. In one fluid motion, Storm launched, wings thundering. He smashed the drone midair, sending it spiraling into my lawn in a burst of plastic and sparks. He landed beside the wreckage, feathers fluffed like he'd just taken down a tank. I didn't know whether to cheer or brace for war. Linda Kozova. That night, a kid in an HOA vest delivered a notice. Wildlife hazard aggressive animal Biha VY, or. The irony was rich. Her drone was the trespasser, but my eagle was the criminal. I sent the HOA footage from my wildlife cams showing the drone near Dawn's nest, with copies to the city wildlife office. Their reply? Another citation. Non-compliant aerial defense structures. This wasn't ignorancy, it was malice. Linda upped the ante with a sleeker drone, darting through my pines like a metal wasp. I'd set up a decoy nest, and she was obsessed with it. Dawn, perched high, waited. When the drone dipped low, she struck, snatching it clean and dropping its mangled frame by my pond. I left it on Linda's sidewalk with a note. You're being watched too. She didn't blink. More drones appeared, along with notices accusing me of running an unregulated raptor colony. I pinned that one on my fridge. The real game changer came when I strapped lightweight GoPros to Storm and Dawn. The footage was jaw-dropping. Storm tailed Linda's fanciest Dronia matte black beast with thermal imaging across my land and 6 neighboring properties. It hovered over a koi pond, skimmed a roof, and chillingly, lingered outside a teen's window as she changed. That from a startled girl. A drone inches from her glass flipped the script. I mailed it to every neighbor with a note. Linda says it's safety. You decide. For call me. 2 were leave VY done at Linda, 1 at me. 2 others wanted privacy screens. Then Mrs. Larson, a retired Navy analyst who called Linda Commander Nutcase, showed up with a binder of drone logs, saying, "Let's take her down." I went full detective. Trail cams, GPS trackers, and a Freedom of Information Act request confirmed Linda had no drone permits. She was spying illegally, using HOA funds. My lawyer, Sam Carter, a soft-spoken ex-prosecutor, re-VY-EU the EVY Denke and said, "This is bigger than an HOA. She's breaking state and federal laws." My wildlife attorney, Rachel Nguyen, was gleeful. "She's toast," she said, filing complaints with the Department of the Interior and State Fish and Game. The feds moved fast. A DOI agent, Special Agent Harrow, spent hours re-VY-ing my footage, including a drone crash into Storm's nesting Zonia federal no-fly area. Linda's own drone audio caught her saying, "I don't care if it's illegal. I want to know what he's hiding." Rachel filed a lawsuit. Saw Carter versus Willow Creek, HOA saw. The injunction froze, HOA drone ops. Linda's fleet was seized, and the press pounced. Falconer sues HOA over drone spying hit the headlines. Core was a circus. Linda's lawyer claimed I'd weaponized my eagles. Rachel played the drone footage, including Linda's damning audio. The ex-HOA secretary, Ellen, testified Linda faked budget approvals for drones. The judge dissolved the HOA board, fined Linda for FAA and wildlife violations, and appointed a receiver to audit their books. Linda's husband bailed, her house went up for sale, and she vanished behind closed blinds. Peace returned. Dawn's chicks hatched, strong and squawking. Storm patrolled the skies, unchallenged. I used the lawsuit damages to build a raptor rehab center, saw Linda's roost saw, with a stone facade and a sign quoting its mission, a sanctuary for raptors, free from harassment. The opening drew hundreds, including the mayor and an eagle named Liberty. Linda's house sold to a park ranger who now volunteers at the center. I keep the old notices framed, next to a DOI letter praising my work. Some win with lawsuits. I won with eagles, patience, and the truth that when you mess with nature and the law, the sky always wins. So what do you think? Was I right to let my eagles fight back? Or did I escalate a petty feud too far? Should HOAs have any power over private land? Or are they just legalized bullies? And that teen's window, how far, is too far for community safety? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button, and subscribe for more stories where nature and justice collide.